The following is a presentation of RMG Sports, award-winning championship television.
Jimmy Todd out there somewhere flexing just a little bit. I don't know which boat he's on, but he's out there. Want to send out a huge good morning and thank you to the folks at Racer H2O if you're just joining us. Thanks for being here. We're just about ready to get our program started, so give us just 1 second. We'll get our opening ceremonies going. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get this program started. We start every morning with our opening ceremonies, and we are going to do that. First, I'm going to turn this thing over to Pastor Mike and let him open us up with an invocation. So if you would, please remove those hats, and here we go.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for a beautiful day. Lord, we thank you for the city of St. Angelo and all they do to provide this facility. We thank you for the SDBA and their staff and all the efforts they've put in, especially this morning's getting this course back ready and this facility ready, drag boat race after the storms last night. Lord, we know you're the master of the wind, Father, and we ask you for another beautiful day, Lord, to get this day of drag boat racing in. Father, we're able to do this because we live in a country where we're free, and that's because of our military. Lord, wherever they may be today, we ask that you watch over them, keep them safe. Our first responders, Lord, you keep your hand of protection on them also. Lord, everybody on this facility, watch over us, keep us safe, give us wisdom. We know it's going to be hot. Keep us all hydrated, Lord. Watch over us. But right now, Father, it's time to go do some drag boat racing. And as always, I have those 3 requests. Lord, we are looking for that loud day. Lord, we're looking for the safe day. And Lord, we're looking for a fast day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Mike. And if I would now, please, if you guys would stand, please remove your hats. Find yourself a flag somewhere. We're going to have the lovely Miss Jordan Cox handle our national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, Miss Jordan. We appreciate you. All right, starter called for the lights. 30 seconds on the countdown. Right about now, the driver's getting a flashing yellow light. Lets him know it's time to get ready. I'll tell you more about the tree in a little while. Right now, it's about to get loud. Brody Mickey House, Bad Moon Rising, looking to license into Top Alcohol Hydro. Here we go. So Ricky House is an NHRA Top Fuel Harley champion. But I'm telling you right now, driving a boat at those kinds of speeds is a whole different beast. And I'm not entirely sure what section. Like I said, we didn't see him in Marble Falls, so last time we saw him on the water for licensing was last year, and they weren't able to get it done. So I'm not entirely sure what stage of the licensing he's in. We usually have him do sort of a launch and half-track run and then another half-track run just to make sure they've got it under control and everything is working the way it's supposed to. And then they'll come back and run a couple of full-track passes, and they got to get within a certain number close to the index they're trying to run in. Once they get that done, then they get a license and they can come out and run in competition. And like I said, it's been a minute since we've seen them out here, and I'm not entirely sure what section of the process they're in. It did look like the boat may have been in gear when they first fired up.
This is what's all in the SDBA shirt trailer.
It sort of drifted off of the line, and then when it launched a little hard and maybe a little sideways, and that may have been the issue. He may have just stepped out of it and said, you know what, let me just take a nice slow cruise down to the other end, collect my thoughts, figure out what it looks like, and we'll come back and do it again. So either way, there we go. Hey, don't forget, Emily has got the Southern Drag Boat Association merchandise trailer set up back here behind us on Vendor Row. She's got shirts from Trinity Industries. She's got earplugs back there, by the way. When we start getting into some of these bigger boats, it's going to get loud. She's got those 2 pair back there for $5. I'll tell you more in just a minute, but first up, our first pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 65, is Raven Broadway. Calls the boat the Golden Child. Dialed in at a 10.5. Sponsored by Family Power Sports, Petroplex Oilfield Services, Spring Creek Marina and RV Park, MS Matthews, RV Repair Crew, Darling Ingredients, Hawkins and Papa A. Special thanks to Wayman Pitchford Incorporated, Mom, Dad, and the good Lord above for all the help. Happy birthday, little prince, Miss Adley Joe. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 476 is Henry Rogers. Bring me a beer and watch this. Driving for Steve Pruitt out of Cement, Oklahoma. Sponsored by Hold My Beer and Watch This, Steve and Leslie, Bronco Companies. So Henry Rogers, 469 for a reaction timer and 11.307 on an 11.03 dial in for a 64 mile an hour pass. Raven Broadway turns it red by just over 0.2 of a second. But on a 2.5 index, runs a 2.56 and 8. Yes, I can talk. Going back to the equipment trailer, or the merchandise trailer back here, Emily has, of course, the SDBA event shirts for the showdown in San Angelo. She's also got some really cool new SDBA hats. You need to go by and check that out. She's got flags. She's got T-shirts from Nitro Nuts and Liquid Voodoo, which are the 2 top fuel hydros on the property. She's also got a little more therapy shirts from Mallory Carroll and their Pro Modified team. Here's my next pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 357 is Jacob Nodler. Long time coming, the name of the boat. He's dialed in at a 13 flat, thanks to Mom, Dad, Ona, and Opa, Mike Sorensen, Carl Nichols, Gary Payne, Jim J., Chris Clay, Ellis County Barbecue, and everyone who's helped him along the way. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 117S is Megan Lempar. Calls the boat Megalodon. Dialed in at a 14.3. Jacob Nodler turns it red by 85 thousandths. Won't matter in qualifying, but check this out. 13 was the dial-in. He ran a 13.004 for a 56 mile an hour pass. And for now, that's good enough for the number 1 qualifying spot. Megan Lempar dialed in at a 14.3, ran a 14.65 and 2. Stock Eliminator, this is your final call to the in-ramp. Stock Eliminator, your final call Modified Eliminator. We're ready for your boats at the in-ramp, please. Modified Eliminator, bring them to the in-ramp. Top Eliminator, warm them up, get ready. Pro Eliminator, stand by. Here's my next pair. For personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 762. That is Delaney Head. Driving for John Nodler, thanks to neighbor John and family. They call the boat Head Start, and she's dialed in at a 13 flat. In the Superior Audio Sounds left lane, they call the boat Fire Starter. That is Addison Lee's, boat number 412K. Sponsored by DNR Docks, Just Ducky Charter out of Key Largo, Florida. Captain Kevin, Whiskey Watering Hole Music Series, the V Team, Mama, Papa, special thanks to Katie Reed for the tow vehicle. And Addison dialed in at 11.6. Both drivers out early. Addison, 9 thousandths of a second red, and Delaney Head, 97 thousandths of a second red. But a couple of nice runs. Delaney Head dialed in at a 13 flat, ran a 13.24 and 9, and that'll put her the number 4 qualifier in round 1. Addison Lee's dialed in at 11.6, ran an 11.82, and that's good enough for the number 3 spot at the moment. We still got a lot of boats to run in this class, though, so we'll see. Starter called for the lights. Here we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 577 is Bella Genesek. Wackadoodle, the name of the boat. Dialed in at a 13.5. Races a junior dragster, sponsored by JP&E, RESP, and Trinity Racing Ministries. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is boat number 19, Lynn Blackburn. Doing time 2, the name of her machine. Dialed in at a 10.49. Sponsored by Ted Sacco, DDS, Sports Medicine Associates, Richard Steffen, MD, Courtney and Josh Edwards, JW Construction, High Gear Collision, Docks and Boat Rescue at Medina Lake. Lots of red lights this morning. But we have a new number 1 qualifier, Bella Genesek, dialed in at a 13.5, ran a 13.501, missed it by 15 10,000ths of a second, and that is good enough for the number 1 qualifying spot right now. Lynn Blackburn dialed in at a 10.49 and ran a too fast 10.44 and 7 with a 68-mile-an-hour pass, and that'll push her down to the number 8 qualifying spot in round 1. Here's your next pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 262 is Radley Miller out of El Reno, Oklahoma. Calls the boat Almost Miller Time. Sponsored by Huffman Performance, Smoke on the Water, The Circle of Trust, TriStar Fleet, Sales and Service. We can handle all your trailer, truck bed, zero-turn mowers, golf cart, and heavy equipment needs. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 422 is Tegan Finnegan. Tegan's first year racing. She's looking for that first win. What Racing, sponsored by Smoke on the Water Boat Races, July 14 through 16. Miller Excavation, Huffman Performance, and the Starfleet Sales and Service. We can handle all your trailer, truck bed, zero-turn mowers, golf cart, and used heavy equipment needs. Special thanks to Mom, Dad, Kama, Matt, and Allie Miller. Tegan Finnegan had some struggles in Marble Falls, but it looks like she's got this thing figured out. 13.25 for a dial-in, ran a 13.32 and 2. It's good enough for the number 4 spot. And Radley Miller dialed in at a 10.9 and ran a way slow 11.21 and 2. In the Hawkins Battering Golf Cars left lane is boat number 1469. That is Colton Byler. Calls the ski stretch, dialed in at a 13.1, sponsored by, or thank you to David Carroll, Michael and Lucy Branch for their support this season. And into Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 115, Voodoo Therapy. That's going to be Leighton Pippinger, driving for Jimmy and PR Kemp out of Blanco, Texas, sponsored by Granny and Granddad, WCR, Buffalo Management, 4K Enterprises, RESP, and Trinity Ministries. And Leighton is dialed in at a 13 flat. Colton Byler dialed in at a 13.1, ran a 13.196. And that'll be good enough for the number 5 spot. Leighton Pippinger, 7:35 for a reaction time and a 14:21 on a 13 flat dial-in. Modified Eliminator, this is your final call to the in-ramp, please. Modified Eliminator, your final call. Top Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp? Top Eliminator, we need you at the in-ramp. Pro Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go? Quick Eliminator, stand by. So I was talking earlier about vendors and food vendors and whatnot, and I almost missed them because they're down on the other end, kind of toward the pits. But Tacos Locos is set up right down here, kind of right at the beginning of the pit area and the end of the RV park. Celebrate our 8th anniversary with us this Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m. at 1724 South Chadbourne in town. Free beer and music. Let's have some fun. Free tacos for all the military. ID is required. And so anyway, go see the guys over there at Tacos Locos. The real Mexican flavor. Right back here behind me, behind the tower along the pit road or along the water edge here, we've got Big Baron's top end grub set up back here. And I've been smelling that all morning. They got some good grub back there. They've got a menu up on the fence. Go take a look, see what they've got. And then I believe we've got some other food vendors down by the store. And I will endeavor to find out who they are and what they've got as soon as I get the opportunity. Don't forget to visit with some of our other vendors back here. Hawkins Battering Golf Cars is set up if you need to rent a golf car for the day or the weekend. Go by and see them. They've got them set up over there. And Superior Audio Sounds and Window Tinting is set up just about halfway down the road here. They've got all kinds of cool stuff. You need to go check it out. They were still setting up when I came by and visited with them earlier, so I didn't get a chance to see what all they got. But I do know that he has the Yeti coolers with the Bluetooth speakers built in. He told me earlier that he's going to be raffling one of those off. So as soon as I have that information, I will pass it along to you. and we will get that going. But I put in every year, and I haven't won yet, so maybe this year will be my lucky year. We shall see.
Is she registered? Yeah, I got her now.
All right, here we go. I got another pair of personal watercraft. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 238S is Shelby Hudgens. Catch me if you can. Sponsored by Magnum Trailers, American Fiberglass Repair, Roosters Repair, and special thanks to Todd at Magnum Trailers. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 14 is Kenyon Parsley. Calls the boat Mad at the World. Driving for Ken Jenkins. Dialed in at a 15 flat. Shelby Hudgens turned it red by almost 0.4 of a second. And then on a 13.6 dial-in, ran a 13.87.2, and that'll be good enough for the number 8 qualifying spot at the end of round 1. And Canyon Parsley dialed in at a 15 flat and ran a 2 fast, 14.17.5. First time they've had that boat out here on the race course, so I'm sure they probably didn't have any idea what it was going to do, so that was kind of a test run for them, and we'll see what they can do with it coming into the next round. Top Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Top Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. Quick Eliminator, stand by. Top Eliminator, need you to the in-ramp. Pro Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. Quick Eliminator, stand by.
I will. Okay.
All right, here we go. First pair of stock Eliminator in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 817 is Stephen Russell. Calls the boat Harry Canary. Sponsored by AE Show, Outlaw Crew, Eagle Motorsports. Special thanks to Rick Gordon and Jimmy Kemp. Cedarbuilt, Pumps by Chop, Back in Black Crew. Thank you to the parents, the VFW, and the auxiliary in Willow, California. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 169 is Michael Ratliff. He calls that little outboard Capital Punishment. Sponsored by RT Marine, Counts Electric, Service Title Company, Grammy Betty Page, and OGD Granny Deva. All right, there you have it. Michael Ratliff dialed in a 9 flat, ran a 9:39 and 8 in the right lane with a 3:15 reaction time. Stephen Russell turned it red by just under 0.2 of a second, and then ran a 9:85 on a 9.3 dial in. Top Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Top Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Eliminator, be warmed up, ready to go. Quick Eliminator, stand by. All right, here we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 0657 is Garrick Snyder. They call the boat Young Gun. Sponsored by Real Medina Truck and Auto, Real Fab and Welding, Lilly Construction, Custom Powder Coating, 4-Way Bar at Medina Lake. Damon Decker, 212 Athletics, Jeff Gibson Insurance, Guild Mortgage, Reagan and Angie Everett, Rowdy Tees, RNS Construction, Postal Annex, Twisted Tags and Embroidery, Illuma Lighting, Gore Fuel Injection Systems, 3D Landscaping, and Duffin Machine Shop. Boat number 424 was in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. That's Rodney Blackstock and Plum Crazy. Rodney dialed in at a 9 flat, ran a 9:36 and 9, and it'll be good enough for the number 2 spot. And Garrick Snyder moves himself into the number 1 qualifying spot if he can hang on to it. But there's a lot of room to play with. He dialed in at a 9, ran a 9:29 and 1. And I don't think you can leave 0.3 of a second in there and expect somebody else not to bump you out of that spot. So we'll see what happens. Of course, it is only round 1. Top Eliminator, this is your final call to the in-ramp. Top Eliminator, your final call. Pro Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, warm up, get ready. Pro Comp Flat, stand by. My next pair of stock eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 746 is Blackie Bame. Calls the boat Blackie's Magic out of Rio Medina, Texas. Sponsored by Snyder Motorsports, Mickey and Glenda and Sons, Bob and Marla Winder, Oscar and Jacinda, Marley Ranch, Dave and Jana, Lily Construction, Authora Stage, and his wife Linda. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 878 is Glenn Castgens. Calls the boat Aqua Patina. Sponsored by Glenn's Mobile Tire and Auto, Big Ron's Equipment Repair, J. Two Hot Gens, Skip Castgens, and R.D. Odom. Well, looks like Glenn Castgens' boat either didn't start or started and died. I can't tell from way back here. But either way, the only beam he broke was the start line. And that will not get him on the books. That'll leave him down at the bottom of qualifying. Blackie Bame on the other side, though, takes the number 1 spot. I told you it wouldn't take long. Runs a 10.713 on a 10.6 dial-in for a 71-mile-an-hour pass. Well, the good news is Glenn Castgens got it started and made the pass, or made the trip to the other end. So hopefully nothing major, maybe just forgot to turn on the fuel or something like that. The bad news is no time in the books for round 1 for them. All right, Gary Gay called for the lights, and here we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, Arthur Eimel, boat number 0420, Wet Dream. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, 061 is Frank Mummy. Break out another 1,000. 10 seconds on the countdown. Here they come. Quick Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, bring your boats to the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat, warm them up and get ready. And Pro Jet, stand by. Both drivers jumped early. Arthur Eimel dialed in at a 9 flat, ran a 9:21 and 2. And that's good enough for the number 2 spot right at the moment. Still a lot of boats to go. Frank Mummy on the other side dialed in at a 10:12 and ran a 10:54 and 6, and that's only good enough for the number 6 spot. All right, here we go. Next pair of stock eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 116 is Brendan Lempar. Calls the boat, let's go, Brandon. Dialed in at a 10 flat. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 222 is JT Mooney. Out of Marion, Texas, they call the boat Deuces Wild. Sponsored by Jeanette Mooney. The crew chief is Brian Mooney. Support team, Tony Henrik and Kevin Fleisch. And JT's dialed in at a 9. So JT Mooney turned it red by 4/10 of a second and then ran a 9:55 and 4 on a 9-second dial-in, and that'll put him in the number 8 spot. Brendan Lempar, 1.29 seconds to get off the line, and then ran an 11:97 on a 10 flat, and that's only going to be good enough for number 9, and I would expect to see that might actually go down further before we're done. He's almost 2 seconds off the dial-in. Not the run they were looking for. I don't know if they had a boat issue or what happened there. It's hard to tell from here, but I would anticipate that they will make some changes and things will look a little different in round 2. In the Hawkins Battering Golf Cars left lane, boat number 1457 is Zachary Watson. They call the boat Chicks Dig It. Sponsored by Anytime Air and Electric, T-shirts and more, and Naughty Boat Detailing. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is Bailey Schmidt, boat number 007. They call that one Silver Bullet, sponsored by Bent Plumbing, Newman Water Services, Brandon Auto and Truck Supply, J.C. Jones Enterprises. Here we go. All right. Zachary Watson dialed in a 9 flat and ran a 2 fast, 8:85 and 3. Bailey Schmidt dialed in at a 10-9, ran a 10-201, 11-201, excuse me. Missed her number by 66 thousandths, and that'd be good enough for the number 4 qualifying spot in round 1. All right, here comes our next pair. In the Hawkins Battering Golf Cars left lane is boat number 05. They call that the Billy J. That's Bart Giles out of Del Rio, Texas. Sponsored by Two Guys Marine, Del Rio, Diablo Boat Storage, Del Rio, Dental Via in Acuna, Mexico, Blue Line Drilling in San Angelo, Thompson Tire, Holzer Farms. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 707 is Natasha Cruz. Calls the boat Cracker Jack. Natasha Cruz jumped out way early, 1.77 in the red, and then ran an 11:41 and 3 on a 9.7 dial-in. Bart Giles on the other side, 3.11 for a reaction time, and ran a 13:24 and 9 on a 12-second dial-in. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 80 is Doug Fox. Calls the boat Worst Case Scenario, sponsored by Flying F Farms and dialed in at a 9 flat. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is Sean Goodnight. Boat number 924, they call it Made in America. 9 seconds to dial in, thanks to his wife Mindy for putting up with him and his hobbies. Doug Fox in Worst Case Scenario turns it red by 134 and then ran a 2 fast, 8.92 and 8 on a 9-second index. And Sean Goodnight, 1 1/4 seconds for a reaction time and then ran a 2 fast, 8.92 on a 9-second dial-in. Next up in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 064 is Bruno Knopf out of Lavernia, Texas. Sponsored by Snyder Motorsports, Holscher Farms, Rowdy Tees. Special thanks to his wife Courtney and his daughter Charlie for all their help. Calls the boat checkered past, dialed in at a 9.2. So Bruno Knop on a 9.2 dial-in runs a 9.309 for an 84-mile-an-hour pass and the number one qualifying spot in round one. Couple of rounds to go. Hopefully he can hang on to that. We'll see what happens. Quick Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick Eliminator, need you at the in-ramp. Pro Comp Flat, need you warmed up, ready to go. Pro Jet, stand by. Moving into Modified Eliminator now on an 8-second index. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 982 is Dusty Peterson. Out of Los Alamos, New Mexico, calls the boat Collusion. Sponsored by Dale Nichols Marble, Double Dog Dare Fine Arts in Los Alamos, Unrivaled Diesel, Chris Patterson in Weatherford, Texas, John and Rachel Gibson, Jonah Katz, Mike and Shelly Nichols, Josh and Bailey Anderson, and the Visual Noise team. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 311 is Andrew Decker out of Buckholz, Texas, In Too Deep, the name of that boat. Sponsored by GNC Machinery, Robert Moore, Easy Tire, CMT Mobile Services. Andrew Decker makes the pass, 8-1-8-4 on an 8-second index, 142 for a reaction time. Dusty Peterson, I'm not sure what happened. My next pair for Modified Eliminator in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 794, Lane McDonald. Calls the boat High Voltage, sponsored by Bloomer Trailers, Pat Kinsey Drywall, Tim Ortiz Marine, George Olson, Dad Melanie, and his wife Caitlin. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 517 is Mr. Jesse James Jr. Racing out of Tyler, Texas, they call the boat the Outlaw. Sponsored by Lone Star Millworks, David and Carrie Muller, Cedarbuilt, Eagles Motorsports, JCD, Steve Ray, Butch Carter, Carter Rig Services, Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp. James dialed in at an 8 flat, ran an 8-0, or rather on an 8-second index, ran an 8:08 with a 1 for a 98-mile-an-hour pass. And right now, that's good enough for the number one spot. Lane McDonald slides into the number 3 spot with a too fast 797 and 3. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 1111 is Steve Walls. Calls the boat Happy Hour out of San Angelo, Texas. Sponsored by Buddy Johnson, Fastline Fabrication, Walls Tractor Repair, Machine Works Incorporated, Schaefer Oils, O'Reilly Auto Parts in San Angelo, Joe Yarbrough, FPC Services, Judy and James Sheffield, Wayman Pitchford Incorporated, William R. Pascal and Sons Fine Woodworking. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 769 is Michael Ratliff. Calls the boat Det Row. 8 seconds the index. Here we go. Those little outboards are a whole lot of fun to watch, I'm telling you. Steve Walls runs an 8:13 and 7 and slides into the number 2 qualifying spot out of a field of 8. And Michael Ratliff and Det Rowe with an 8.64 and 5 will take the number 4 spot in round 1. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 050 is Bob Winder out of Lake Hills, Texas. Calls the boat Mama's Diamond. Top Eliminator now running on a 7-second index, sponsored by Merrick Brothers, Hudson's Automotive, Site Pro, United Rentals, L&W Materials, Action Gypsum, Lone Star Materials, and United Tool. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 405 is Matt Miller. Calls the boat Miller Time out of El Reno, Oklahoma. Sponsored by Miller Excavation, a leader in the HDD industry. Contact us for all your boring needs. Huffman Performance, Smoke on the Water. TriStar Fleet Sales and Service. We can handle your trailer, truck bed, zero-turn mowers, golf court, and used heavy equipment needs. Special thanks to his wife, Allie, Radley, and Hazel, his crew, all helping him out. Matt Miller in Miller Time in the right lane. Bob Winder, Mama's Diamond in the left. Here we go. Bob Winder runs a 7:43 and 9 on a 7-second index. Matt Miller 7:28 and 7 on that 7-second index. Couple of 100-mile-an-hour passes. All right, here we go in Pro Eliminator. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is Dr. Don Topliff. Calls the boat Late Life Crisis, boat number 84. He qualified number 1 with that boat at finals in San Angelo last year after licensing just the day before and running in a field of 1, unfortunately, which is a little disappointing for him. He definitely would like to have some more competition. But anyways, sponsored by Dr. T Racing, Whiskey River in San Angelo. The crew chief is Ty Chandler. Wife Linda and daughter Brooke are helping out. 6.5 seconds is the index. Pro Comp Flat, this is your final call. Pro Comp Flat, your final call to the in-ramp. Pro Jet, ready for your boats on the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet, need your boats to the in-ramp. Pro Mod, warm them up, get ready. Pro Outlaw, stand by. Dr. T making his pass. Turned it red by 0.28 of a second. And on a 6.5 index, he ran a 6.68 and 7. Pro Comp Flat. You guys should already be at the in-ramp. Pro Jet. Need you guys at the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet. Need you at the in-ramp. Pro Modified. Need you warmed up, ready to go. Pro Outlaw. Stand by. Here comes my first pair of quick eliminators now on a 6-second index. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 915. Jerry Branham, driving out of Tyler, Texas, calls the boat Back in the Day. Sponsored by Pumps by Shop, GNS Marine, Eagle Motorsports, Guy Hand Motorsports, and special thanks to Steve Welch, Chris Russell, Jimmy Kemp, Jesse James, and the gang. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 426. Lee Warren doing the driving for Steve Pruitt. Hold my beer and watch this. Out of Marble Falls, Texas. This hydro dedicated to all veterans and our fighting forces who answer the call. Sergeant M. Big Mike Bennett. Lilly Construction, Dave and Jana Wilson. Lido Properties, Mike Oglesby. Wayman Pitchford here in San Angelo. Thanks to Lee Saki Warren for all of his hard work on the boat. Lee will be driving on the shakedown pass as the boat has been totally rebuilt. So they're going to make it run. Let's see what happens. Steve standing right over here watching. On a 6-second index, Jerry Brandon will run a 6:54 and 2 for a 119-mile-an-hour pass. Lee Warren in the Hold My Beer and Watch This machine ran a 6:44 and 5 for a 135-mile-an-hour pass. 6 seconds is the index for Quick Eliminator. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 392 is Jason Gothard out of San Angelo, Texas. Calls the boat Texas Red. Sponsored by Don Wild, Buddy Johnson, Steve Pruitt, Travis and Kim Dusick, Fastline Fabrication. Walls Tractor, Wayman Pitchford, James Brown, Judy Sheffield, FPC Services, and special thanks to the crew chief, Terry Marshall, the family, Wayne Jackson, Joe Yarborough, Jerry and Jessica Hardwick, Bruce and Sella Hodges. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Ken Jenkins calls the boat Through the Fire, welcoming Mom Carol from Virginia, and of course sending his love to Mickey, his wife, from home. Couple of 6-second boats up here. 2,500 horsepower on each side of that lane. Let's see what happens. Ken Jenkins runs a too fast 597 and 6 for a 146-mile-an-hour pass. Turned it red at the top end as well with a 37 thousandths of a second in the red. Jason Gothard on the other side, 0.85 for a reaction time, and then ran a 6:37 and 2, and that'll be good enough for the number 1 spot right at the moment. Still got some names coming up on the list, though. Larry Flores still to make a pass. Chad Coopit, Rick Martin, Gavin Snyder, the 6 to midnight boat. That's a tough field right there. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 465 is Chad Coopit out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Calls the boat Warpath. Sponsored by Outlaw Boat Races, Allen Welding, Kinda Sharp Vinyl Graphics, Moonlit Mountain Cabins, and Jet Aquatics Incorporated. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 910 is Larry Flores. Las Cruces, New Mexico is where they call home. The boat's called Hydroclimatic. Special thanks to his wife, Kim, Tom Garcia, the shop crew, Dynamic Racing Engines, Pine Top Construction, and the SDBA for always great venues, and the good Lord above for all of his help. 5 seconds. Here we go. Pro Jet, we need your boat at the in-ramp. Pro Jet, we need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet, need your boats. Woo! Number 1 qualifier in the right lane, Larry Flores runs a 6:05 and 6 for a 143-mile-an-hour pass. Chad Coopit on the other side, he'll be number 2 with a 6:25 and 4, 141-mile-an-hour pass from Chad in the left lane. Next up going to be Rick Martin, driving the In the Red boat. His son Brody was High Points champion in that machine last year. Or runner-up. I don't remember which. I have that somewhere, but I'll have to look it up again. Anyways, and Rookie of the Year, he's moving up to Pro Mod, or trying to. So Dad Rick is going to take over the driving duties in the red machine. Got his license last 2 weeks ago, actually, in Marble Falls. Sponsored by Bent Plumbing, Newman Water Services, Bandera Auto and Truck Supply, J.C. Jones Enterprises, Winners Electric, Propane Depot, Winners Electric, Waterboys, Propane Depot again, and Swenson's Knives. Well, the boat started and then shut off, and I'm not entirely sure. Can't really see the start line from here. There's kind of a tree in the way for me over there, but Pro Jet, this is your final call. Pro Jet, this is your final call. Pro Modified. Bring your boats to the in-ramp, please. Pro Mod, bring them to the in-ramp. Pro Outlaw, start warming them up. Get ready. Top Alcohol Flat. Stand by. All right, he got it started. Rick Martin in the red. Here we go. Ran a 6:42 and 5 for 137 mile an hour pass. So Gavin Snyder now the only one we haven't seen from that quick eliminator group. Pro Mod, we need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Mod, need your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Outlaw, be warmed up, ready to go. Top Alcohol Flat, stand by. After that will be Top Alcohol Hydro and Top Fuel Hydro. You guys be ready. Once again, while we're waiting to get these guys, we're just waiting on these rollers to kind of roll through the course real quick. You guys saw the spider boat kind of work its way down to the other side and left a few rollers. And we do have a tree now, but real quick, reminder to everybody up and along the beach and in the pits, make sure you're staying hydrated. It's going to get hotter. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Lots and lots of water, some electrolytes. Cole Henrik makes a run, turns it red by 26 thousandths. Dialed in at a 665 and ran a 692 and 3 for 114 mile an hour pass. Andy Comstock, it started and went drifting. I don't know if he started in gear or what happened. Like I said, I can't really see down there very well, but unfortunately, not the run they were looking for. We'll get a jet ski over there, hook him up. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 331 is Tim Ortiz out of Conroe, Texas. Calls the boat Never Satisfied. Sponsored by Pat Kinsey Drywall. Pat, Rhonda, Archie, Gage, and Cash. Thanks to his wife for supporting him in this crazy dream. And big thanks to Milton and Jen Tolan for their help. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 187J is Kevin Hibden. Out of Peralta, New Mexico, calls the boat Visual Noise. Sponsored by, or helped out by, Tony Garcia, and then sponsored by Budlong Motorsports, Papa Wally, Nelson Speed and Marine, and Hibden Motorsports. Tim Ortiz lays down a pretty nice lick. 618 was the dial in. He ran a 614 and 4. All right, here we go. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Got boat number 075. That is Larry Skiro out of Highland Haven, Texas. Calls the boat Flat Nasty. Sponsored by Blue Water Nursery and Irrigation, Crazy Girls Cafe, Kingsland, Highland Lakes Watercraft, Signs Across Texas, Rob and Charlotte Cormier with Cormier Property, EXP Realty, Superior Equipment Rental, Thomas Mustang Lube, and Triple C Liquor. Larry Skiro dialed in at a 6.2, ran a 6.64, 125 mile an hour pass. Gavin Snyder on the lane now for quick eliminator in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 657. They call that one 6 to midnight. 6 seconds on the index. All right, here comes our first pair for Pro Jet. These guys are going to run the half track, which is this yellow set of buoys out here. And it's just a heads-up class. First to finish wins. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 987 is Dawson Dickerson. Calls the boat Can't Quit. Thanks to Olson Piling, Affordable Engine, Swatlowski Speed and Marine, Harry's Machine. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 356 is Robert Ledbetter. Out of Owasso, Oklahoma, calls the boat the Honey Badger. Sponsored by Smoke on the Water, Top Fuel Champion. Or he was the Smoke on the Water Top Fuel Champion. Thanks to Dave at One Motorsports, D&E Motorsports, Amber, Scott, Kevin, and Godspeed Gary. There we go. Dawson Dickerson turned it red by 1200ths and ran a 376 and 6 at 130 miles an hour to the half track mark at 660. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane at Robert Ledbetter. Ran a 377 and 2. Next up for Pro Jet in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 012 is Stephen Welch. Out of Spring, Texas, calls the boat Seeing Red. Sponsored by Olson Piling, Harry's Engine Machine, SWAT Speed and Marine, DSR, GS Marine, Dad's Wallet, MPD Performance, Amazing Landscaping, Jeff Bennett Analytics, Induction Solutions, Nitrous, Injection Solutions Nitrous. And the crew is Jason and Kendra Armstrong, George and Chris. Stephen Welch taking round one of qualifying, ran a 4.002 for 135 mile an hour pass. And probably top alcohol hydro, I'm guessing. Need you guys warmed up, ready to go? Top fuel hydro, stand by, you're up after that. Back to another Pro Comp flat in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 238 is Vic Fugate. He calls that boat flat blacked out, and he ran a 665 and 6 on a 6.5 dial-in, 121 mile an hour pass. All right. Next up, we're moving into Pro Modified on a 5.6 second index in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is boat number 832. That is Jay Hudgens. Calls the boat Aquaholic out of Burnett, Texas. Sponsored by Magnum Trailers, Reali's Italian Cafe, RoostersRepairs.com, and Cody Childress. Special thanks to the crew chief, Dustin Hudgens, and the crew for all of their help. 5 seconds on the countdown. Here we go. That boat got a little jumpy. You saw it before he even got to half track. Gave it a little throttle pop. It settled right back down and ran beautifully the rest of the trip. He still ran a 578 and 1 on a 5.6 index. 156 mile an hour pass from Jay Hudgens and Aquaholic. All right, here we go. Next up for Pro Mod in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 4-5 is Jason Brandt. Calls the boat Hydro Hysteria from Ingram, Texas. Sponsored by Better Business Bureau, serving the heart of Texas, Miller Meat Market and Smokehouse in Llano, Texas. Heart of Texas Propane, Speedy Oil Change Auto Service in Marble Falls, Misty Mitchell's eXp Realty, Guild Mortgage, Felix Gomez Jr. 5.6 seconds the index for Pro Mod. About 3,500 to 4,000 horsepower strapped in behind the driver. Here we go. Five six is the index. He ran a 586 and 5. 3:32 for a reaction time. Pro Outlaw, we need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Outlaw, need your boats at the in-ramp. Top Alcohol Flat, Top Alcohol Hydro, need you warmed up, ready to go. Top Fuel Hydro, stand by. All right, we got a green course, and starter says, let's do this thing. Sean Reed, Top Secret in the left lane. Cade Genesek, All or Nothing in the right. Pro Modified, 5.6 seconds on the index. Watch those capsules. When they close, it's go time. Yeah. Sean Reed takes the number one qualifying spot with a 566 and 2, 161 mile an hour pass. Cade Genesek with a 164 mile an hour pass. Got started just a little later and only managed to put 586 on the clock. Here we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 420 is Terry Kane. Out of Los Alamos, New Mexico, calls the boat Racing Kane. Special thanks to Los Alamos Napa Auto Parts. All kinds of painting. Thanks to Jeff Bear and Clay and all the Canadian support this weekend. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 927 is Robin Reed. Out of Arlington, Texas, calls the boat Wound Too Tight. Sponsored by Concho Painting LLC since 1987, based here in San Angelo. Two Guys Marine in Del Rio, Vortex Roofers and General Contracting, Texas Outrigger Boats, CCR Fiberglass and Marine, NGK Spark Plugs, Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, and Trinity Racing Ministries. Starter called for the lights. Terry Kane runs a 647 and 4 and 112 mile an hour pass. He was already getting out of it. He was at 122 mile an hour at half track, and then something went a little sideways, got a tad squirrely. Robin Reed on the other side breaks out by 6 thousandths of a second. Ran a 559 and 4 on a 5.6 index, 158 mile an hour pass. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 115S is Greg Lempar out of Comfort, Texas. Calls the boat Anger Management. Sponsored by Jeff Rose, the Cocky Rooster Bar, Penny Walkenhorst, and thanks to Jamie and Jerry for their help. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 611 is Brian Miller out of Bluffdale, Texas. Calls the boat Joker's Wild. Sponsored by XS Speed of Marine, AP Manufacturing, Mixer Centers, Pack Rat, HDR Extreme, and try to stay hydrated. Here we go. Greg Lempar, Brian Miller. It's go time. Something obviously not right with Brian Miller and the Joker's Wild machine. And so they'll just take a slow cruise to the other end, put it on the trailer, take it to the pit, see if they can figure that out real quick. Greg Limpar turned it red by 66 thousandths and then ran a 5.79 and 3 on a 5.6 index. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 810 is Mallory Carroll. Calls the boat a little more therapy. Driving for David Carroll out of Marble Falls, Texas. Sponsored by David Carroll Racing, Trinity Racing Ministries, Fatheads Eyewear, Sunoco, Driven Racing Oil, Buffalo Land Management, JMP 1.0, and thanks to Mom, Dad, and Amanda. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 459 is Henry Bainey.
It's Mallory on the outside.
Burton, Texas, where they call home. Big shout out to Mama Alice. Sponsored by Ranch King Trailers, Rick Heidel, Gomez Landscaping, 5S Signs, Schaefer Racing Oil, and thank you to the Naughty Crew, Tim, John, and Bobby for all their help. All right, here we go. Mallory Carroll, a little more therapy in the left lane. Henry Bainey, don't blink, in the right lane. 10 seconds on the countdown. Watch those capsules. Once they close, it's on. Henry Bainey in the right lane. The boat didn't sound right. It almost sounded like it was up against the rev limiter, and I don't imagine that was the case, but he ran a 6:42 and 6 for 134 mile an hour pass. Mallory Carroll, though, on the other side, laid down a lick, 574 and 7, 158 mile an hour pass, and an 010 reaction time. Your next pair are going to be Pro Outlaw in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars. Left lane, boat number 105 is going to be Justin Schmidt. He's driving for Robert Lees in a boat called Wildfire. Sponsored by Kager Oil Service, Red Fox Bar and Grill, Sales Midwest, Elite Tow, and Lake Relo. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is boat number 765, Gus Ward, out of Sonora, Texas. Calls the boat Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Pro Outlaw runs on a 5.2 second index. Justin Schmidt and Wildfire in the left lane. Gus Ward, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot in the right. Pro Outlaw. 5.2 seconds is what's on the index. And there's 10 seconds left on the countdown. Here we go. Gus Ward's got himself a rocket, man. That thing just absolutely fun to watch. 536 on a 5.2 index. It's good enough for the number one qualifying spot. 086 for a reaction time. Justin Schmidt on the other side ran a 461 and 9 for 168 mile an hour pass. Brody Martin going to be back in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 420S. They call that boat the Reaper. He ran quick eliminator last year. He's looking to license into Pro Mod. Should be a full track pass, and if he can cut the number and pass the license, then he will be good to go. Ran a 5:59. 5:59 and 3. And back to Pro Outlaw we go in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 077 is Cody Childress out of Nemo, Texas. Sponsored by Travis Tuttle, BAE, Lenco Transmissions, TD's Transmissions, Galen and Betty Childress, Ken Jenkins, and special thanks to his wife and kids, Bentley, Braxton, Brady, and Blakely. Thanks to Mama Judy. Special thanks to his wife Kendra for her help. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 521 is Rick Blethroad out of Odessa, Texas. Calls the boat Wild Thing. It's a Texas outrigger. Sponsored by Alliance Machine, AAA RV, Pam and Ken's Cool Cars. And special thanks to Ronnie, JR, and Holly for their help. That Wild Thing boat, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, well, all of these boats are absolutely amazing. Wander around, take a look at some of them if you get the opportunity. But a Wild Thing sitting there with two big old twin turbos on there. Says capable of making up to 60 pounds of boost. Running somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 horsepower. He's got a rev limiter on there. He'll run it up against the rev limiter when the light is going. You'll hear that. Got to spool those turbos up so he can get that boost out of them on the line. All right, here we go. Starter called for the lights. I got Cody Childress, Bad Influence in the left lane, Rick Blethroad, and Wild Thing in the right. 10 seconds to go. Rick Blethroad runs a 5:33 and 6 on a 5.2 index and drops the chute right at the tail end. Looks like Cody Childress dropped his as well. They were both cooking. Cody Childress runs a 5.408. He'll have the number 3 qualifying spot, but Rick Blethroad moves himself into the number 1 spot with only Tim Ortiz and Mickey Snyder left to run. Well, there's Mickey Snyder anyway in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 647. Out of Rio Medina, Texas. They call the boat Top Gun. Sponsored by Snyder Motorsports, Napa, Rio Medina Truck and Auto and Marine, Rio Fab and Welding, Custom Powder Coating, 4-Way Bar and Grill, Trinity Ministries, Lawley Construction, Postal Annex, your home office, Rowdy Tees, Twisted Tags and Embroidery, Gore Fuel Injection Systems, 3D Landscaping, Duffin Machine Shop, Genesis Construction, Thomas Davis, RPM Sports Boats, Colin Moore, Marley Ranch, Oscar and Jacinda Galindo, and thanks to his wife Glenda and pit crew for all their help. All right, Mickey Snyder, Top Gun in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. 5.2 seconds is the index. All right, 147 mile an hour pass, 584 with a 1. And I think he might have already gotten out of it. He was running a 526 at 875, which is the blue buoys. And had slowed down almost 0.6 of a second by the time he got to the 1,000 foot. So he may have jumped out of it just a hair early. And that leaves us with Tim Ortiz as the last of our Pro Outlaws, and I believe I see him down there. In fact, I do. He's in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 082. They call the boat Empty Pockets. He's driving for Pat Kinsey out of Conroe, Texas. The boat is a Bullet with a Hemi for power. Sponsored by Pat Kinsey Drywall, Maxima Racing Oil, Lone Star Fiberglass. Special thanks to Brittany, Doug, Archie, Gage, and Cody for all the help. And big thanks for Rhonda continuing to let them race. All right, here we go. Tim Ortiz, empty pockets in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Stock Eliminator, we need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Stock Eliminator, we need your boats at the in-ramp. Stock Eliminator, need you at the in-ramp. Modified Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. Your call's coming quickly. Top Eliminator, stand by. Well, there we go. It's good enough for the number 2 qualifying spot. Ran a 5:34 and 768.78 mile an hour pass. Tim Ortiz. So at the end of round 1, Rick Blethroad will be your number 1 qualifier. Tim Ortiz right behind him. Gus Ward, Cody Childress, Justin Schmidt, and then Mickey Snyder will round out the field. Starter called for the lights. Here we go. Couple of wicked machines and a couple of really good drivers down there. Marty Logan living the dream in the left lane. Tyler Spear, Georgia Outlaw in the right lane. 200 plus mile an hour machines. Capsules are down. Here we go. I'm just going to say that is not the run that either one of those guys wanted. Tyler Spear, the boat never sounded right. Could hear it popping and snapping on the way down. Ran a 7:22 and 8. Definitely not the run they were looking for. And Marty Logan never made it past the first set of sensors. Marty had issues in Marble Falls, actually broke a sponson, and they had to repair that during the 2 weeks they had between races. And man, it's a shame to see them 2 weeks in a row, or 2 races in a row, having issues. This team is strong, and I know they will work on that and get it squared away here really quickly. Hopefully nothing major for either one of these guys, and they can get their boats back in the water as soon as possible. All right, back to personal watercraft we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, Megan Lampard calls the boat Megalodon. That'll in at a 14.8. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 357, Jacob Nodler calls the boat Long Time Coming. Dialed in at a 13.1. Thanks to Mom, Dad, Ona, Opa, Mike Sorensen, Carl Nichols, Gary Payne, Jim J., Chris Clay, Ellis County Barbecue, and everyone who's helped along the way. Jacob Nodler dialed in at a 13.1 and ran a 2 fast, 12.99 and 8. And that'll leave him in that number 2 qualifying spot. Megan Lampard dialed in at a 14.8 and ran 2 fast as well, ran a 14.27 and 5. And that won't help her either. She'll stay in the number 11 spot. Next pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 476. Bring me a beer and watch this is Henry Rogers driving for Steve Pruitt. Sponsored by Hold My Beer and Watch This. Steve and Leslie, Bronco Companies, Mom, Dad, Aunt Mandy, Lee Warren, Steve and Leslie Pruitt. I got you. Thank you. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 65 is Raven Broadway. Calls the boat the Golden Child. Sponsored by Family Power Sports, Petroplex Oilfield Services, Spring Creek Marina and RV Park, MS Matthews, RV Repair Crew, Darling Ingredients, Hawkins, and Papa A. Special thanks to the Wayman Pitchford Incorporated. Special thanks to Mom, Dad, the good Lord above for all the help. And happy birthday to the little princess, Miss Adley Joe. Raven Broadway dialed in at a 10:56, ran a 10:79 and 1, and that'll leave him in the number 3 spot. Henry Rogers moves up 3 spots to number 6, dialed in 11:2, ran an 11:4. Here's your next pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 19. Dune Time 2 is Lynn Blackburn. Sponsored by Ted Sacco DDS, Sports Medicine Associates, Richard Steffen MD, Courtney and Josh Edwards, JW Construction, High Gear Collision, Docks and Boat Rescue at Medina Lake. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 577 is Bella Genesek. Calls the boat Wackadoodle, sponsored by JP&E, RESP, and Trinity Racing Ministries. Bella currently the number 1 qualifier, dialed in at a 13:52. Lynn Blackburn dialed in at a 10:43. Bella Genesek runs a 13:63 and 3 on a 13:52 dial in, and it won't help, but she'll stay number 1 qualifier. Lynn Blackburn, on the other hand, dialed in at a 10:53 or 10:43 rather, ran a 10:58 and 2, and that's good enough to bring her up 7 spots into the number 6 qualifying spot. This is your final call for Stock Eliminator. Stock Eliminator, final call to the in-ramp. Modified Eliminator, we're ready for your boats, please. Bring them to the in-ramp for round 2. Top Eliminator, start warming them up and be ready. Pro Eliminator, stand by. All right, in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 412K is Addison Lees. Calls the boat Fire Starter. Sponsored by D&B Docks, Just Ducky Charter out of Key Largo, Florida. Captain Kevin, Whiskey Watering Hole Music Series. The V-Team, Mama and Papa, and special thanks to Katie Reed for the tow vehicle. Dialed in at an 11:75. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Catch Me If You Can. The name of the boat, that's Shelby Hudgens. Sponsored by Magnum Trailers, American Fiberglass Repair, Roosters Repair, and special thanks to Todd at Magnum Trailers. Shelby's dialed in at a 13 and 9. I don't know what happened with Addison Lees. She was off the line in 43 hundredths of a second, but then just sort of stopped, and I could see her looking back. Maybe something wasn't right. Maybe something wasn't hooked up. I'm not sure what happened there, but that run will go in the books as not much help at all. Shelby Hudgens on the other side, though, moves herself up 4 points to the number 6 qualifying spot and bumps Lynn Blackburn down one more with a 14:03 and 7. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 14 is Canyon Parsley, driving for Ken Jenkins. Mad at the World, the name of that ski. Dialed in at a 14:12. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 262 is Radley Miller. Almost Miller time, driving for Matt Miller out of El Reno, Oklahoma. She's dialed in at 11:35. Here's your next pair of personal watercraft in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 422 is Tegan Finnegan. She's dialed in at a 13.4. Sponsored by Smoke on the Water Boat Races, July 14 and through 16. Miller Excavation, Huffman Performance, TriStar Fleet Sales and Service. Special thanks to Mom, Dad, Kama, Matt and Allie Miller, JJ and Carly Jones, Brother Mike, Trinity Racing Ministry, David Carroll, and all the Nothing But Class SDBA crew. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 762 is Delaney Head. Driving for John Nondler, they call the boat Head Start. Delaney dialed in at a 12.9. Tegan Finnegan dialed in at a 13.4 and ran a 13.35, and it won't help. She'll stay in that number 4 spot. Delaney Head dialed in at a 12.9, ran a 12.77 and 5, and broke out by 12 hundredths of a second. And unfortunately, that won't help her either in round 2, and she'll finish round 2 out in the number 10 qualifying spot. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 1469 is Colton Byler. Calls the ski stretch. Dialed in at a 13.12. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 115 is Leighton Pippinger, driving for Jimmy and PR Kemp. They call that boat Voodoo Therapy. Dialed in at a 14 flat. So neither driver will move in the standings. Colton Byler dialed in at a 13.12, ran a 13.22 and 9. And he'll stay in the number 5 spot through round 2. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Leighton Pippinger dialed in at a 14 flat, ran a 14.54 and 7. And that won't help move anywhere, so he'll stay at the number 13 spot. Okay, we're moving into stock eliminator now. Still a dial-in class. 9 seconds as fast as they can run. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 817 is Stephen Russell. Calls the boat Harry Canary. He's dialed in at a 9.8. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 746 is Blackie Bame. Out of Rio Medina, Texas, they call the boat Blackie's Magic. He's dialed in at a 10.68. So they both move up a little bit with those runs. Blackie Bame actually moves up 1 spot into the number 1 qualifying spot and bumps Bruno Canop down 1. Dialed in at a 10.68, ran a 10.71 and 7. Stephen Russell on the other side, dialed in at a 9.8, ran a 9.94 and 3, which is good enough to move up 6 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 007X is Bailey Schmidt. They call that boat Silver Bullet. Dialed in at 11 flat. Sponsored by Bent Plumbing, Newman Water Services, Brandon Auto and Truck Supply, J.C. Jones Enterprises. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 169 is Megan Ratliff. Calls that boat Capital Punishment. RT Marine, Counts Electric Service, Title Company, Grammy Betty Page, and OGD Granny Deva all helping out with that machine. Got a 9 flat dial in the right lane. Pro Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go? Quick Eliminator, stand by. Megan Ratliff dialed in at a 9 flat, ran a 9.402 for an 87 mile an hour pass out of that little outboard. Bailey Schmidt looked like she had some trouble with the diverter down there, but they got it going. 2.74 for a reaction time. And on an 11 flat dial in, ran an 11.304. Neither one of them will change position, but they've got one more opportunity to make that happen in round 3. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 0420. That's Arthur Imo. Calls the boat Wet Dream. Sponsored by Cons Incorporated, Creek Lake Tire and Auto, Average Joe Coffee, Vincent's Auto, Biggs 306, Rowdy Tees. And in this Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 222 is JT Mooney, Deuces Wild. Sponsored by Jeanette Mooney, Crew Chief Brian Mooney. Here they come. All right. Arthur Imel, 9 seconds for the dial in, ran a 9:26 and 6. JT Mooney dialed in at a 9.4 and ran a too fast 9:38 and 8. Sorry, I got distracted. There's like a whole lot of stuff going on right out here in front of me. All right, here we go. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 424 is Rodney Blackstock, driving for Al Kirshner in the Plum Crazy Machine. Thanks to Dodie and Shelley Blackstock. Thanks to Emily at Quality Inn in San Angelo. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Doug Fox. Worst case scenario, the name of that boat. Sponsored by Flying F Farms. Doug Fox dialed in at a 9 flat. And Rodney Blackstock dialed in at a 9.1. Rodney Blackstock got out of their way early. But then he turned in a 9:24 and 7 on a 9-1 dial-in. And that's good enough to move him up 3 spots into the number 4 qualifying spot. Doug Fox, he'll stay number 14. He ran a too fast 881 on a 9 flat dial-in. Your next pair of stock eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 924 is Sean Goodnight. Made in America, the name of that boat. 9 flat is the dial-in. Special thanks to his wife, Mindy, for putting up with him and his hobbies. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 704 is Natasha Cruz. Calls the boat Crackerjack. Sponsored by Hand Motorsports, Carter Rig Service, Eagle Motorsports, Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp. Special thanks to Sherrill Hand, head cheerleader, and Chase West. Natasha's dialed in at a 11.4. Ran an 11:41 in round 1, looking to see if she can't better her position. Here we go. Not sure what happened with Natasha Cruz and Crackerjack. We shall see what they can do. Sean Goodnight on the other side, out way early, 1.6 seconds in the red, looks like. And then too fast at the top end as well. On a 9 flat dial-in, he ran an 896. All right. Whatever was wrong, Natasha thinks she's got it squared away. So we're going to reset her in the Superior Audio Sounds right-hand lane. They call the boat Crackerjack. She's dialed in at 11.4. Well, did not help much. Dialed in at 11.4, ran at 11.102, and broke out by almost 0.3 of a second. And will stay in the number 12 qualifying spot. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 061 is Frank Mummy out of San Antonio, Texas. Calls the boat break out another 1,000. He's dialed in at a 1047. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 064 is Bruno Canop. Calls that one checkered past out of Lavernia, Texas. Dialed in at a 932. Here we go. Both drivers left in the red, but both drivers managed to improve their situation in round two. Frank Mummy dialed in at a 1047, ran a 1057 and 5, and moves up 6 points into the number 3 qualifying spot. Bruno Canop moves up 1. He was in number 2. He bumps Blackie Bame back down 1, and he'll take the number 1 spot. Dialed in at a 932, ran a 934 and 1. Bless you. Your next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 0657 is Garrick Snyder. Calls that boat Young Gun. Dialed in at a 9 and 34. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 878 is Glenn Castens. Calls that boat Aqua Patina. Believe it or not, Glenn Castens moves up 4 spots with that run. He ran a 15.76 and 1 on a 13.6 dial-in. But he bettered his last run, and that'll move him up 4 spots to number 14. Garrick Snyder, he'll stay in the number 7 spot, ran a 9.32. Your next pair of stock eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 1457. Zachary Watson calls the boat Chicks Dig It. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 116 is Brendan Lempar. Let's go, Brandon, the name of that boat. Zachary Watson moves up 14 spots to the number 3 qualifying spot with a 9.14 and 9 on a 9.05 dial-in. Brendan Lempar dialed in 11 flat, ran a 12.23 and 8. And I believe this is the last of our stock eliminators, although that seems like not enough, because there should be plenty more of them, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, it's going to be Bart Giles in the Billy J, they call the name of that boat, boat number 05 in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. It's a Gambler Mercury 250 XB, and he's dialed in at a 12.6. Dialing a 12.6 and then ran a 12.76, and he'll move up 6 spots into the number 7 qualifying spot. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars, left lane, boat number 1111 is Steve Walls. Calls the boat Happy Hour, racing from right here in San Angelo, Texas. Sponsored by Buddy Johnson, Fastline Fabrication, Walls Tractor Repair, Machine Works Incorporated, Schaefer Oils, O'Reilly Auto Parts in San Angelo, Joe Yarbrough, FPC Services, James and Judy Sheffield, Wayman Pitchford Incorporated, William R. Pascal and Sons Fine Woodworking. And special thanks to his girlfriend Michelle, Bruce, Marcella, Odie, Mandy, Randy, and Luann, all helping him out. 8 seconds is the index for Modified Eliminator. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is boat number 769S. That is Michael Ratliff moving into the new machine. That's a quartermaster with a Mercury 300 for power, and he calls it Det Row. Sponsored by Counts Electric, Service Title Company, and RT Marine. Once again, folks, let me just remind you, it is mighty toasty. And I know the breeze can be deceptive, make you feel like maybe it's cooling down just a little bit, but I would ask you again to please do your best to stay hydrated. Water, water, water. Maybe a little Gatorade from time to time. Beer is not going to do it for you, I promise. It doesn't work that way. But if you'll intermix your beer with some water, don't mix them, intermix them, like a beer, then a water, then a beer, then a water, whatever. Something like that will help, or maybe will help better than nothing at all. So Steve Walls off the line in 2:23 and ran an 8:38 and 3 on an 8-second index. And he'll stay the number 2 qualifier behind Jesse James for now. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Michael Ratliff off the line in 0:89 and then ran an 8:66 and 8. Your next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 794 is Lane McDonald. Calls the boat High Voltage. Sponsored by Bloomer Trailers, Pat Kinsey Drywall, Tim Ortiz Marine, George Olson, Dad Melanie and his wife Caitlin. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 022 is Grant Snyder. He calls that boat Big Iron. Sponsored by Gore Fuel Systems, 3D Landscaping, Duffin Machine Shop, Genesis Construction Group, Thomas Davis, RPM Sports Boats, Colin Moore, McQueen Way, Texas, Marley Ranch, Oscar and Hasina Galindo. Grant Snyder shut down kind of hard right there at the 800 mark. Looks like everything's okay. He's moving the right direction, but yeah, he was cooking. He was doing a 793 at the 875, and maybe he was thinking he was going to be too fast, and he backed out of it. But anyways, he crossed the 1,000-foot line at a 939 and 5. Lane McDonald on the other side actually bumped down 1 notch. Came in as the number 5 qualifier. He'll go out as the number 6. Ran a 799 and 3, too fast for the 8-second index. Here's your next pair of modified eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 517, Jesse James Jr. They call the boat Outlaw out of Tyler, Texas, sponsored by Lone Star Millworks, David and Carrie Muller, Cedarbuilt, Eagles Motorsports, JCD, Steve Ray, Butch Carter, Carter Rig Services, and Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 311 is Andrew Decker out of Buckholz, Texas. They call the boat N2 Deep. GNC Machinery, Robert Moore, Easy Tire, CMT Mobile Services, Shauna Kinsey, Charlie's Boat Docks. Looking pretty decals, all of those folks helping him out. His crew, Dolph, Danny, and Christine Springer, I think. Jesse James, 805 with a 7 on a 0.55 reaction time, and that'll leave him in the number 1 qualifying spot. Andrew Decker on the other side, 0.68 for a reaction time, and then ran an 8:21 and 3 for a 95-mile-an-hour pass. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is Tyler Boehm. Calls the boat Playing Hooky, boat number 267. Huge thank you to all of his sponsors and crew, Tim and Cheryl Walton, Shane Phillips, Danny Kirkpatrick, Walton Construction, Precision Compression Services, American Paradise Ranch, Snyder Motorsports, Gary Boehm Farms, Trinity Racing Ministries, Texas Car Barn, Custom Powder Coating, Mom, Dad, Samantha, and the kids. The entire SDBA for all that you do, and God for all of the many blessings. Sounds maybe a little fat. We'll see. But either way, 9, 1, 2, and 9. All right, here we go. We're moving into top eliminator now on a 7-second index. What time is it? It's Miller time. Boat number 405 in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. That's Matt Miller out of El Reno, Oklahoma. Currently your number 1 qualifier. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 05 is Bob Winder, Mama's Diamond out of Lake Hills, Texas. Here we go. Matt Miller runs a 7:21 and 3, which is better than the run he had before, and that'll give him the number, or leave him in the number 1 qualifying spot with a 106-mile-an-hour run. Bob Winder, 7:402. And here comes our one and only pro eliminator this race, Dr. T, Don Topliff, Late Life Crisis, the name of that boat. Boat number 84. 6.5 seconds is the index. Sponsored by Dr. T Racing, Whiskey River in San Angelo. The crew chief is Ty Chandler. His wife Linda and daughter Brooke are helping out. Brooke, his number 1 cheerleader.
Okay, Barry will be on his way with ice for her. And he's got one for us. Barry is on his way with ice for her. I need a little more water in that ice. I already did. Okay.
679 on a 6.5 index, 129-mile-an-hour pass. Yeah, I was right. It does mean good things. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a Top Fuel Hydro in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Boat number 311S is Nitro Nuts out of Youngsville, North Carolina. Mike Robbins doing the driving. Sponsored by 9A Ranch Buck and Bulls, JP Sport Fishing Tours, Integrated Metal Products, Mac Tools, Victory Valves, Woodham Equipment, Menkins Propellers, Jarco Supply, Floaters Apartments in the Parker Strip, Weinberg Crankshafts, Garrison Contractors, Hammer Superchargers, Roger Way Racing. Special thanks to the crew for all their hard work. Thank you to Connie Kalita, the bounty hunter, for all of their contributions to the team. Finding them all when they disappear. Bob Ginther, Robert Mills, David Carroll, Randy Ball, Mickey Snyder, Generator Supercenter of Virginia, Duncan and Cindy Clark, Scott Forbes with Floaters Riverfront Apartments, Travis Tuttle for letting us camp at his house, and Cody Childress for letting us be in the way at his shop. Top Fuel Hydro. 10,000 horsepower. The driver pulling somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 Gs when the boat launches off the line. I will tell you right now, this will get loud. If you've got little ones with you, cover up their ears. If you've got your dog with you, hang on to them because they will try to run. Top Fuel Hydro looking for a 250 mile an hour run to the Blue Buoys. You're going to feel it. Yeah. Did you feel that all the way down to your pinky toes? 341 for a 212.49 mile an hour pass. It got a wee bit squirrely on him right here at half track. But he made it work. 116 for a reaction time. Mike Robbins getting it done. At 800 foot, he was already doing 213, and he slowed down a little bit. And there we go. Nitro Nuts all the way over here from Youngsville, North Carolina to make that run for us. That was their qualifying run. We'll see Liquid Voodoo here shortly, I'm sure, making theirs as well. But for that, we're going to get to Quick Eliminator on a 6-second index. And first up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 465 is Chad Coopit. Calls the boat Warpath, racing out of Broken Bow, Oklahoma. Sponsored by Outlaw Boat Races, Allen Welding, Kinda Sharp Vinyl Graphics, Moonlit Mountain Cabins, and Jet Aquatics Incorporated. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 915 is Jerry Branham. He's driving for Richard Wild. They call the boat Back in the Day. It's a Cheyenne powered by Chevrolet. Sponsored by Pumps by Chop. Pumps by Chop. I can talk. GNS Marine, Eagle Motorsports, Guy Hand Motorsports. A special thanks to Steve Welch, Chris Russell, Jimmy Kemp, Jesse James, and the gang. All helping him out. All right, starter said, let's do this thing. Calls for the lights. Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is Chad Coopit and Warpath. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 915 is Jerry Branham. Back in the Day. Couple of 6-second jet boats. Chad Coopit runs a 6.19 with a 3, and that'll leave him in the number 2 qualifying spot. Jerry Branham runs a 6.24 and 7 for a 125 mile an hour pass, and that will improve his situation and move him up 3 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot. Larry Flotis, still your number 1 qualifier, and has yet to run. Here's your next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 110 is Ken Jenkins. Calls the boat through the fire. It's a Cole powered by Chevrolet. Welcoming Mom Carol from Virginia, and of course sending love to Mickey, his wife, from home. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 392 is Jason Goddard out of San Angelo, Texas. Calls the boat Texas Red. Sponsored by Dawn Wild Racecraft, Buddy Johnson, Steve Pruitt, Travis and Kim Dusick, Fastline Fabrication, Walls Tractor, Wayman Pitchford, James Brown, Judy Sheffield, FPC Services. Ken Jenkins moves up 7 spots into the number 1 qualifying spot with a 6:05 and 1. He beats Larry Flotus's number 1 qualifying spot or run by 4 thousandths of a second. 5 thousandths of a second, rather. And he'll take the number 1 qualifying spot in round 2. Jason Goddard on the other side ran a 5:96 and 9 and was too fast by 300ths of a second. 149-mile-an-hour pass. We just saw the Nitro Nuts machine run a little while ago. They've got Nitro Nuts T-shirts for sale back there at the SDBA merchandise trailer. Go back there and talk to Emily, and she'll get you squared away. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 426 is Lee Warren. He's doing the driving for Steve Pruitt in the Hold My Beer and Watch This machine out of Marble Falls, Texas. This hydro dedicated to all the veterans and our fighting forces who answer the call. Sponsored by Lilly Construction, Dave and Jana Wilson in Ozona, Lido Properties, Mike Oglesby in Midland, Wayman Pitchford in San Angelo. Special thanks to Lee Saki Warren for all of his hard work on the boat. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 910 is Larry Flores out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. Thanks to his wife, Kim, Tom Garcia, the shop crew, sponsored by Dynamic Racing Engines, Pine Top Construction, and the SDBA. Thank you for always putting on great venues. And a big thanks to the good Lord above for keeping him safe. They call that boat Hydro Climatic. All right, so they're telling me Steve Pruitt now is in the boat. Lee Warren drove it for the shakedown. All right, here we go. Steve Pruitt, Hold My Beer and Watch This in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Larry Flores, Hydro Climatic in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Woo! Steve Pruitt cuts a 008 light and then ran a 6:22 and 6, moves up 3 spots into the number 4 qualifying spot. Larry Flores with an 044 reaction time and then ran a 6103 rather for a 141-mile-an-hour pass. And it's not good enough to take that number 1 spot away from Ken Jenkins, but he'll get one more try in the 3rd round, so we'll see. Those two guys, by the way, if you watched last season, those two guys compete with each other all the time, back and forth, back and forth. Here comes your next pair of quick eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 657 is Gavin Snyder. Calls the boat 6 to midnight. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 505 is Rick Martin in the red, the name of that boat. So Rick Martin runs a 6:32 and 4 on a 6-second index, 135 mile an hour pass. Gavin Snyder left great, less than a quarter of a second for a reaction time, and then something snapped, crackled, and popped. And the rest of the run was just sort of, let's get to the other end of the track and get this thing back on the trailer so I can figure out what's going on. They'll have the entire village of Rio Medina working on that here momentarily to try and get that thing back together. So y'all stand by. Pro Jet, I need your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Jet, need your boats at the in-ramp. Pro Mod, need you warmed up, ready to go. Pro Outlaw, stand by. All right, here we go with Pro Comp Flat. This is a dial-in class running all the way out to the 1,000-foot. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 412 is Cole Henrik. Calls the boat Flat Attack. He's dialed in at a 6.7. Sponsored by Henrik Motorsports, Vic Fugate, Jim Mans, Brian Beaton, and Peterson Tire in San Antonio. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 187, Kevin Hibden, Visual Noise. They had some trouble on the last pass. Let's see if they got it figured out. Thanks to Tony Garcia, Bud Long Motorsports, Papa Wally, Nelson Speed and Marine, and Hibden Motorsports. Kevin Hibden probably going to need a pair of shorts when they get back to the pit. That boat got way squirrely, way early, right off the launch. He managed to get it back down, and then he tried to sort of get back in it, and it jumped again. And he said, nope, I'm just going to take a nice slow cruise. Put this thing on the trailer. Go sit down for a minute and think about my life choices, and then we'll go from there. But we do have a new number one qualifier, Cole Henrik, with his pass. Dialed in at a 6.7, ran a 6.706, and moves him up to the number one qualifying spot. Vic Fugate right behind him. But we still got more boats to go, so we'll see how that works out. Next pair of Pro Comp flats in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 502 is Andy Comstock. Whiskey Tango, the name of that boat, sponsored by AC/DC Electric, Night Sales and Manufacturing, Element Salon. And special thanks to his son Chase and friend Tony for all they're doing. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 331 is Tim Ortiz. Calls the boat Never Satisfied, sponsored by Pat Kinsey Drywall, Pat Rhonda, Archie Gage and Cash. Andy Comstock will move himself up 3 spots into the number 2 qualifying spot with a 6:38 on a 6:35 dial-in, 127 mile an hour pass. Tim Ortiz with an 0.19 reaction time, dialed in at a 6.12, ran a 6:07 and 7, and broke out by 42 thousandths. And he'll go down a spot to number 5. Kevin Hibden, unfortunately, after 2 rounds of qualifying, has yet to make a qualifying pass. And Ashley Winslet, unfortunately, also registered into that class, but they blew a piston up yesterday at Tech. And so they're out for the day. Tough luck for that team, for both of those teams, to be quite honest. And Ashley and them, I know they're going to take that thing home and figure out how to put it back together and get it back on the water for Waco. Kevin, I think we'll probably go back to the pits and try to figure out what the heck do we need to do to make this thing sit down. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 075 is Larry Skiro out of Highland Haven, Texas. Calls the boat Flat Nasty. Dialed in at a 667, sponsored by Blue Water Nursery and Irrigation, Crazy Girls Cafe, Kingsland Highwater Lakes Watercraft, Signs Across Texas, Rob and Charla Cormier with Cormier Property, EXP Realty, Casa Superior Equipment Rental, Thomas Mustang Lube, Triple C Liquor, and in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 238 is Vic Fugate. Calls that one Flat Blacked Out out of Fort Worth, Texas. Sponsored by Tony Hendrick Engines, Beaver Fab, Fugate Construction, Two Guys Marine. Well, there we go. Larry Skiro will move up one spot to number 3. He ran a 674 and 3 on a 667 dial-in with a 123 mile an hour pass. Vic Fugate turned it red by over a tenth of a second and then ran a 671 and 3 on a 6.6 index. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 356. That is Robert Ledbetter. Calls the boat the Honey Badger. Pro Jet going to be running to the 660. So right here at the Yellow Buoys. Racing out of Owasso, Oklahoma. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 012 is Stephen Welch. Seeing Red out of Spring, Texas. Ledbetter runs a 3907. 3907, 127 mile an hour pass. And Stephen Welch runs a 397 and 3 at 132 mile an hour. Dawson Dickerson is our last of Pro Jets. Calls the boat Can't Quit, and he's in the Superior Audio Sounds right-hand lane. Thanks to Olson Piling, Affordable Engine, Swatlowski Speed and Marine, and Harry's Machine Shop. Currently the number 1 qualifier. He holds the ET record for SDBA with a 362. Runs a 381 and 3 on that pass at 135 miles an hour. And he will stay the number 1 qualifier through round 2. All right, here we go. First pair Pro Mod in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 115S is Greg Lempar. Anger Management, the name of that boat. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 832 is Jay Hudgens. Calls the boat Aquaholic. Watch those capsules. They go down. It's on. Here we go. Greg Lempar makes the pass, 563 on a 5.6 index, 163 mile an hour pass, and it'll move him up to the number 1 qualifying spot. Jay Hudgens came out a little early, and then I don't know what happened. The boat kind of went sideways just a hair. You can see he's already all the way over in the other lane. All right. Starter called for the lights, and we got a pair. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 420 is Terry Kane. Calls the boat Racing Kane. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 716 is Sean Reed. He calls that one Top Secret. Terry Kane with that big old blower popping down there, and Miss Tanya down here bobbing her head. So Terry Kane will move up one spot to the number 7 with a 135-mile-an-hour pass, ran a 6.302 on a 5.6 index. Sean Reed on the other side will stay the number 2 qualifier behind Greg Lempar. He ran a 5.67 and 4. All right, here we go. Mallory Carroll. A little more therapy in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Jason Brandt, Hydro Hysteria in the right. Top Alcohol Hydro. Need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Top Alcohol Hydro. Need your boats to the in-ramp. Mallory Carroll in the left lane, 018 rather for reaction time, and ran a 5.88 and 1 on a 5.6 index, 154-mile-an-hour pass. Jason Brand on the other side, he'll move himself up one spot to number 5, 2.13 for a reaction time, ran a 5.78 and 2 at 156 mile an hour. All right, right now in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 255 is Cade Genesek. Calls that boat All or Nothing. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 927, Robin Reed. Wound too tight out of Arlington, Texas. Robin Reed moves up 8 spots into the number 2 qualifying spot and bumps Sean Reed down one more with a 5.65 and 2 on an 0.28 reaction time. Cade Genesek runs a 5.68.5 at 170 mile an hour, and that's good enough to move him up 2 spots into number 4 right behind Sean Reed. All right, here we go. Brody Martin making his first qualifying run as a freshly licensed Pro Mod driver. Calls the boat the Reaper, boat number 420S, sponsored by Phil's Automotive, Brutal Off-Road, Justin Teach Construction, and Mitchco Foundation. 5.6 seconds the index. Here we go. All right, so Brody had an 017 light, and everything was looking good until about 660 or 800 feet, someplace in that neighborhood. And then almost like the boat popped out of gear. Starter has called for the lights. Cody Childress, Bad Influence in the left lane. Rick Blethroad, Wild Thing in the right. first pair of Pro Outlaws for round 2. So Rick Blethroad came in as the number 1 qualifier. He'll stay there. He ran a 5:28 and 2 for 176 mile an hour pass. Cody Childress on the other side ran a 5:03 and 6, and that's good enough to move him up 2 spots into the number 2 qualifying spot. Your next pair of Pro Outlaws in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 082 is Tim Ortiz, driving for Pat Kinsey in the Empty Pockets machine out of Conroe, Texas. Sponsored by Pat Kinsey Drywall, Maxima Racing Oil, Lone Star Fiberglass. Special thanks to Brittany, Doug, Archie, Gage, and Cody for all the big help. And a big thank you to Rhonda for continuing to let us race. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 105 is Justin Schmidt. He's driving for Robert Lees in the Wildfire machine. It's a watercraft with a 540 cubic inch Ford for power. Sponsored by Kager Soil Service, Red Fox Bar and Grill, Sales Midwest, Elite Tow, and Lake Relo. Well, Justin Schmidt made his pass. 0.12 of a second for a reaction time. Ran a 5:41 and 8 for 172 mile an hour pass. Tim Ortiz, I'm not sure I ever heard the boat fire up, but it's hard to tell whether both of them are running down there. We'll see if they're going to reset him or if it's something a little more than that and they need to bring it back to the trailer. All right, they're going to try and reset Tim Ortiz in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Empty Pockets, the name of the boat. It's a Bullet with a Hemi. All right, starter call for the lights. Let's see if he can make this one. All right, well, it's not going to work, so they're going to need truck and trailer for boat number 082. Back to the old in-ramp, please. Truck and trailer for boat number 082. Back to the old in-ramp. Here's our first pair of personal watercraft for round 3 in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 476, Henry Rogers, driving for Steve Pruitt. Bring me a beer and watch this out of Cement, Oklahoma. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 357 is Jacob Nodler. Long time coming. He's dialed in at a 12.99. Henry Rogers dialed in at 11.39. So Henry Rogers moves up 2 points into the number 6 qualifying spot with an 11:51 and 5 on an 11:39 dial-in, and Jacob Nodler runs a 13:08 and 5 on a 12:99 dial-in, and he will stay your number 2 qualifier coming into eliminations tomorrow. Here's your next pair. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 1469 is Colton Byler. Calls the boat Stretch, dialed in at a 13 and 22. Special thanks to David Carroll, Michael and Lucy Branch for their support this season. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 762 is Delaney Head, driving for John Nodler. Calls the boat Head Start. Thanks to neighbor John and family for all their help. She's dialed in at 12-8. So Delaney Head dialed in at a 12.8, ran a 12.83, and will move herself up 7 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot. Colton Byler, 5.62 seconds to get off the line. I'm not sure what happened there. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 412K. That is Addison Lees, driving for Chris Lees in a boat they call Fire Starter. Sponsored by D&B Docks, Just Ducky Charter out of Key Largo, Florida, Captain Kevin, Whiskey Watering Hole Music Series, the V-Team, Mama and Papa, and special thanks to Katie Reed for the tow vehicle. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 19 is Lynn Blackburn. Calls the boat Doing Time 2. Sponsored by Ted Sacco DDS, Sports Medicine Associates, Richard Steffen MD, Courtney and Josh Edwards, JW Construction, High Gear Collision, Docks and Boat Rescue, and Medina Lake. Lynn Blackburn dialed in at a 10:53. Addison Lees dialed in at 11:75. Lynn Blackburn turns it red by 198, but then ran a 10:59 and 9 on a 10:53 dial-in and moved up 4 points into the number 5 qualifying spot. Addison Lees with an 11:46, too fast for the dial-in, will stay at number 10. Stock Eliminator, we need your boats. Final call, Stock Eliminator to the in-ramp. Final call for Stock Eliminator to the in-ramp. Modified Eliminator, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Modified Eliminator. Need your boats at the in-ramp. Top Eliminator, need you warmed up, ready to go. Another pair of personal watercraft now in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 14 is Canyon Parsley. Driving for Ken Jenkins. They call that boat Mad at the World. Special thanks to Mickey Jenkins for her jet ski and support. Thanks to Mom and Dad for all you do and all your love and encouragement. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 117S is Megan Lempar, driving for Greg Lempar. They call that ski Megalodon. And she's dialed in at a 14.8. Here they come. So no changes in the qualifying. Kenyon Parsley will stay at number 14. Dialed in at a 14:15 and ran a too fast 14:12.8. Megan Lempar dialed in at a 14:8 and ran a too slow 15:18 and 7. So she'll finish the day at number 12. Kenyon Parsley will finish the day at number 14. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 238S, Shelby Hudgens. Catch me if you can. Dialed in at a 14:07. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 577 is Bella Janisek. Kalzatsky Wackadoodle, dialed in at a 13:68. Currently the number 1 qualifier. Next pair of personal watercraft. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 65 is Raven Broadway. Calls the boat the Golden Child. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 115, Leighton Ravens dialed in at 10 and 79. All right, so no changes there either. Raven Broadway dialed in at a 1079 and ran a 1092 and 8. And that'll leave him in the number 4 qualifying spot at the end of round 3. Leighton Pippinger dialed in at a 1479, or ran a 1479 on a 14.1 dial in. And he'll stay at the number 13 spot. Your next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 422 is Tegan Finnegan, driving for Josh and Kat Finnegan. Comes in number 6 qualifier at the end of 2 rounds. Looking to see if she can't improve that just a hair, or maybe a lot. Dialed in at a 13 and 37. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 262 is Radley Miller, driving for Matt Miller. They call the boat Almost Miller Time. Modified Eliminators is your final call to the in-ramp, please. Modified Eliminator, your final call. Top Eliminator and Pro Eliminator. Bring your boats to the in-ramp. Top Eliminator and Pro Eliminator need your boats at the in-ramp. Quick Eliminator need you warmed up, ready to go. Pro Comp Flat, stand by. Radley Miller moves up 8 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot at the end of round 3. Dialed in at 11.4, ran an 11.41 and 8 with a 63 mile an hour pass and an 0.74 reaction time. Tegan Finnegan on the other side, 1:33 for a reaction time. Dialed in at a 13.37, ran a 13.45, and drops 1 point to the middle of the field in the number 7 qualifying spot. I believe that's it for personal watercraft. So your number 1 qualifier will be Bella Janisek, Jacob Nodler will be number 2, Radley Miller number 3, and Delaney Head number 4. Everybody else falling in line behind that. And now we're moving into stock eliminator, round 3 of qualifying. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 817 is Stephen Russell. The Harry Canary, the name of that boat. Driving for Chris Russell, sponsored by Yellow Ribbon Boutique, Eagle Motorsports, Outlaw Crew, Float Fix, Jimmy Kemp, and Priscilla, Lone Star Pump, and Valves, and Pumps by Chop. 9.9 the dial-in for Stephen Russell. Megan Ratliff, Capital Punishment, the name of the boat, in the right lane. Sponsored by RT Marine, Counts Electric, Service Title Company, Grammy Petty Page, OGD Granny Deva. Dialed in at a 9.15. Stephen Russell drops 1 point to the number 6 spot with a too fast 9.803 on a 9.9 dial-in. Broke out by 96 thousandths of a second. Megan Ratliff turned it red by 134 at the start line and then moved up 8 points into the number 3 qualifying spot with a 9.22 and 8 and a 92 mile an hour pass. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 0420 is Arthur Imel. Calls the boat Wet Dream. Dialed in at a 9 flat. Sponsored by Creek Lake Tire and Auto, Average Joe Coffee, Vincent's Auto, Biggs 306, Rowdy Tees, and the crew, Smith Family and Gary Z. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 424 is Rodney Blackstock, driving for Al Kirshner, in the Plum Crazy Machine, sponsored by Doty and Shelley Blackstock. Thanks to Emily at the Quality Inn in San Angelo. So both drivers will move up one spot. Arthur Imel, with a 9.148 on a 9-second dial-in, will move up one spot into the number 8 qualifying spot. And Rodney Blackstock dialed in at a 9.2, ran a 9.33 and 8, and he'll move up one spot to number 6. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 707 is Natasha Cruz. Calls the boat Crackerjack. Dialed in at 11 flat. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Frank Mummy, boat number 061. They call it Breakout Another 1,000 out of San Antonio, Texas. Natasha Cruz, sponsored by Guy Hand at Hand Motorsports, Butch Carter, Carter Rig Service, Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp, Playboy Motorsports, KHC Racing, Toho Super Dave, Jesse and Tara James, and the Outlaw Gang. Whoa, check that out. Natasha Cruz dialed in at 11 flat, ran an 11.006 just when she needed it most, and moves up from the number 14 qualifying spot all the way to number 1. Missed her number by 0.06 of a second. That is the way you get it done right there. Frank Mummy dialed in at a 10.55, ran a 10.86. He moves down one spot to number 6 because Natasha moved up a notch a lot. Okay, couple of things. First off, quick eliminator. Final call for top eliminator and pro eliminator. Quick eliminator, I need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Quick eliminator, need your boats to the in-ramp. Pro comp flat, need you warmed up, ready to go. Pro jet, standby. And also, Superior Audio Sounds just came up and let me know that on their raffle, they have 19 tickets left, because I just bought one. The Wet Sounds Bluetooth cooler, it's worth about $1,000. Includes a lithium battery and charger. You can use this while you're holding your drinks and jamming out all at the same time. You can get your tickets back here at the Superior Audio booth, and they are $20 a piece. They got 20 left on this raffle, so if you want in on it, and you want that to happen today, you need to go back there and let's buy some tickets. Otherwise, we may have to roll that thing over in tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. Your next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 007X is going to be Bailey Schmidt. Calls that boat Silver Bullet. Sponsored by Bent Plumbing, Newman Water Services, Brandon Auto and Truck Supply, J.C. Jones Enterprises. He's dialed in at 11.2. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 878 is Glenn Caston, sponsored by Glenn's Mobile Tire and Auto, Big Ron's Equipment Repair, Two Hot Gens, Skip Castions, and Artie Odom. They call that boat Aqua Patina. All right. And I'm back. So Bailey Schmidt moved up to the number 5 qualifying spot, and Glenn Caston moved up to number 8 on those runs. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 746 is Blackie Bame out of Rio Medina, Texas. Calls that boat Blackie's Magic. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, going to be Doug Fox, boat number 80. Worst case scenario, Here we go. Doug Fox takes a huge jump as well and moves up from 13 points into the number 4 qualifying spot in round 3. Ran a 9:04 and 7 on a 9-second dial-in. Blackie Bame dialed in at a 10:71 and ran a too fast 10:58 and 1. And he'll stay number 3. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, they got boat number 0657, Garrick Snyder, Young Gun. Dialed in at a 9.3. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 924 is Sean Goodnight. Calls that one Made in America, dialed in at a 9 flat. Here we go. So neither one will move. Both of them ran too fast. Garrick Snyder dialed in at a 9.3, ran a 9.26 and 6, and broke out by 33 thousandths. Sean Goodnight dialed in at a 9 flat, ran an 8.95 and 4, and broke out by 45 thousandths. All right, here we go. Stock eliminator in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 1457 is Zachary Watson. Calls the boat Chicks Dig It. Dialed in at a 9:05. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 05, Bart Giles. Calls the boat the Billy J. Dialed in at a 12 and 73. Not sure what happened there. Bart Giles jumped over a half second early, but then had himself a pretty good run. Dialed in at a 12.73, ran a 12.83 and 9, and that'll move him up 4 spots into the middle of the pack at the number 9 spot. Not sure what's happening with Zachary Watson. The boat fired, but it didn't leave, so we'll see what he's going to do with it. Quick eliminator. Need your votes at the in-ramp, please. Quick eliminator. All right, they're going to reset Zachary Watson and give it another try. He's going to stay in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is going to be JT Mooney out of Marion, Texas. Calls the boat Deuces Wild. Sponsored by Jeanette Moody. The crew chief is Brian Mooney. Support team, Tony Henrik and David Fleisch. Dialed in at a 9 and 35. Zachary Watson had himself a pretty good run. Dialed in at a 9:05, ran a 9:07 and 6, moves up 4 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot. JT Mooney will stay number 15. Dialed in at a 9:35, ran a too slow 9:97 and 3. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 116 is Brendan Lempar. Let's go, Brandon. The name of the boat, dialed in at 11.8. Currently, your number 16 qualifier would like to move up. Bruno Canop was number 1 until Natasha Cruz bumped him down 1. He'd like to get back there. We'll see what happens. He dialed in at a 9:36. Calls the boat Checkered Past, and he's in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Well, he ran it too fast and broke out by 55 thousandths of a second, and Bruno Canop will stay in the number 2 qualifying spot behind Natasha Cruz. Brandon Lampard did improve his situation a tiny bit, moved up 2 spots into the number 14 spot, and that's where he will finish the day going into eliminations tomorrow. Moving now into modified eliminator in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 1111 is going to be Steve Walls out of San Angelo, Texas. Calls the boat Happy Hour, sponsored by Buddy Johnson, Fastline Fabrication, Walls Tractor Repair, Machine Works Incorporated, Schaefer Oils, O'Reilly Auto Parts in San Angelo, Joe Yarbrough, FBC Services, Wayman Pitchford Incorporated, William R. Pascal and Sons Fine Woodworking. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 311 is Andrew Decker, N2 Deep, sponsored by GNC Machinery, Robert Moore, Easy Tire, CMT Mobile Services, Shauna Kinsey, Charlie's Boat Dogs. Steve Walls on an 8-second index runs an 8:46 and 6 at 104 miles an hour. Andrew Decker on the other side, 0.36 for a reaction time, ran an 8:26 and 7. Steve Walls will stay number 2. Andrew Decker number 3. Your next pair of modified eliminators in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 769S. That is Michael Ratliff. Calls the boat Det Row, sponsored by Counts Electric, Service Title Company, and RT Marine. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 794 is Lane McDonald. Sponsored by Bloomer Trailers, Pat Kinsey Drywall, Tim Ortiz Marine, George Olson, Dad Melanie and wife Caitlin helping him out. They call that boat High Voltage. All right, quick eliminator, this is your final call. Quick eliminator, final call. Pro Comp Flat, bring them to the in-ramp, please. Pro Comp Flat, need your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Jet, warm them up. Pro Jet, get them warmed up and ready. Pro Mod, stand by, you're up after that. Michael Ratliff runs a 9.16 and 4, and it won't change anything for him. He'll stay in the number 4 spot. Lane McDonald turned it red by 71 thousandths of a second and then ran a 7.99 and 9, 7.999 on an 8-second index, and that won't help him at all. He'll stay number 7. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 517 is Jesse James Jr. out of Tyler, Texas. They call the boat Outlaw, sponsored by Lone Star Millworks, David and Carrie Muller, Cedar Built, Eagles Motorsports, JCD, Steve Ray, Butch Carter, Carter Rig Services, and Jimmy and Priscilla Kemp. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 022 is Grant Snyder, calls the boat Big Iron, sponsored by Gore Fuel Systems, 3D Landscaping, Duffin Machine Shop, Genesis Construction Group, Thomas Davis, RPM Sports Boats, Colin Moore, McQueen Way in Texas, and the Marley Ranch. Jesse James Jr. with an 0.71 reaction time and then runs an 8.03 with a 5 on an 8-second index. And he will end the day as the number 1 qualifier. All right. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 556 is Bill Diaz. War Party rides on. Top Alcohol Flat Bottom out of Brownwood, Texas. Keeping the Davis legacy alive. Sponsored by Nancy Davis Racing, RB Props, IPSSA, JJ Marley Ranch, Steve Pagan, Infamous Brewing Company, Nancy Stacks, Winslet Racing, Brady Truck Service, Robin Banks, Campbell Family, Spike Gore, Casa de Roe, Aquatic Balance Pool Service, RESP, Trinity Ministries, Drag Boat Review, Red Alert Racing. Top Alcohol Flat, the funny cars of Drag Boat Racing. Here we go. Yes. So much yes. 669 and 2 at 126 mile an hour. Bill Diaz, War Party rides on. And now we're going to have another Top Alcohol Flat. Going to be in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, and that is Justin Stewart out of Austin, Texas. Boat number 0556, Party to the Max. Really good to see this boat back out here. Thank you, IPSA, JJ Marley Ranch, Steve Pagan, Infamous Brewery, Trinity Racing Ministries, Drag Boat Review, Stacks Family, Red Alert Racing, Robin Banks, Campbell Family, Winslet Racing, Casa de Rio, Gore Fuel Systems, RB Props, Brady Truck Service, Aquatic Balance. Also thank you to the crew, Bill Diaz, Bob York, Caleb Brady, Oscar Galindo, Jeff Jones, Ashley Winslet, Steve Brady, all helping out.
Okay.
6.5 seconds is the index. Turned it red by 0.03 of a second, but ran a 669 on a 6.5 index at 133 miles an hour. For top eliminator now in the Hawkins Battery Golf Cars left lane, boat number 050 is Bob Winder. Calls that boat Mama's Diamond out of Lake Hills, Texas, sponsored by Merrick Brothers, Hudson's Automotive, Site Pro, United Rentals, L&W Materials, Action Gypsum, Lone Star Materials, and United Tool. Currently your number 2 qualifier ran a 7.402 on a 7-second index. When we get a green course in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, it'll be boat number 405. That is Matt Miller out of El Reno, Oklahoma. Calls the boat Miller Time. Currently your number 1 qualifier. Sponsored by Miller Excavation, a leader in the HDD industry. Contact us for all your boring needs. Huffman Performance, Smoke on the Water, July 14 through 16. And TriStar Fleet Sales and Service. We can handle all your trailer, truck bed, zero turn mowers, golf cart, and used heavy equipment needs. Special thanks to my wife, Allie, Radley, and Hazel. My crew, Robert, Uncle E, Josh. Shout out to Brother Mike and his wife, Kathy. Our number one fans. Trinity Racing Ministries, RESP, SDBA, and their Nothing But Class crew. We truly appreciate you guys. Matt Miller runs it a little fast. Runs a 6:96 and 3 on a 7-second index. And he will stay the number one qualifier. Next up in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 915 is Jerry Branham. Driving for Richard Walton, the back in the day machine out of Tyler, Texas. Sponsored by Pumps by Chop, GNS Marine, Eagle Motorsports, Guy Hand Motorsports. Special thanks to Steve Welch, Chris Russell, Jimmy Kemp, Jesse Games, and the gang. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, Chad Coopit and Warpath. Jerry Branham going to move up one spot to the number 4 qualifying spot in round 3 with a 6:18 and 2. Chad Coopit in the right lane will stay number 3. He ran a 6:17 and 9, 140 mile an hour pass. And your next pair looks like this. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 110 is Ken Jenkins. Through the fire, currently your number 1 qualifier with a 6:05 and 1. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 505 is Rick Martin. Calls the boat in the red, sponsored by Bent Plumbing, Newman Water Services, Bandera Auto and Truck Supply, J.C. Jones Enterprises, Winners Electric, Propane Depot, Winners Electric again, Waterboys, and Swenson's Knives. Ken Jenkins runs a 6:07 and 4, and Ricky Martin runs a 6:19 and 5, and he'll move up one spot into the number 5 qualifying spot. In the Hawkins Battery Golf Cars left lane, boat number 910 is Larry Flotus, Hydroclimatic, number 2 qualifier. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 426 is Steve Pruitt. Hold my beer and watch this. Here we go. Woo! My goodness. This sport is just absolutely amazing. I love it. Larry Flotus takes back the number one qualifying spot with a 6:01 and 3. And Steve Pruitt moves up 3 spots into the number 3 qualifying spot right behind Ken Jenkins with a 6:07 on that 6-second index. So I believe the only boat we're missing now is Gavin Snyder. Oh, no. We still got Jason Goddard. He's right here in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. Boat number 392. They call that one Texas Red from right here in San Angelo, Texas. Sponsored by Don Wild, Buddy Johnson, Steve Pruitt, Travis and Kim Dusick, Fastline Fabrication, Walls Tractor, Wayman Pitchford, James Brown, Judy Sheffield, FPC Services. And now we got a new number one qualifier. I'm telling you, this class, these guys are just majorly competitive. He ran a 6:01 and 3 and moves up 6 spots into the number one qualifying spot, bumping Larry Flotus and everybody else down 1. All right, here comes our first pair of Pro Comp flat. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars, boat number 187, going to be Kevin Hibden. This team's been struggling a little bit today. They're looking for some redemption right here. Thanks to Tony Garcia, Budlong Motorsports, Papa Wally, Nelson Speed and Marine, and Hibden Motorsports. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 502, Andy Comstock, Whiskey Tango. Sponsored by ACDC Electric, Night Sales and Manufacturing, Element Salon. Special thanks to his son Chase and friend Tony for all they do. So quick eliminator is going to shake out like this. Jason Goddard will come into tomorrow, number one qualifier. Larry Flotus, number 2. Ken Jenkins, number 3. Steve Pruitt at 4. Chad Coopett at 5. Jerry Branham, Rick Martin, and Gavin Snyder. Kevin Hibden moves up 2 spots into the number 5 qualifying spot. He turned it red by 134 and ran a 6:97 and 5 at 120 mile an hour. Andy Comstock on the other side, 79 thousandths of a second for a reaction time, and a 6:37 and 7 on a 6.3 dial-in. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 412 is Cole Henrik. Calls the boat Flat Attack, currently the number 1 qualifier. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane is Larry Skiro, who calls that boat Flat Nasty. Here they come. So Cole Henrik came in as your number 1 qualifier, and he'll stay there. 687 and 8 on a 6.7 dial-in. Larry Skiro, 678 was the dial-in, and he ran us too fast, 672 and 6. He'll stay number 3. Here comes, I believe, our last pair, actually, of Pro Comp Flats. Hawkins Battering Golf Cars left lane, boat number 238 is Vic Fugate. Calls that one flat blacked out of Fort Worth, Texas. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 331 is Tim Ortiz out of Conroe, Texas. Calls the boat Never Satisfied. All right, so at the end of round 3, Vic Fugate runs a 677 and 2, and Tim Ortiz runs a 606 and 4 on a 607 dial-in and broke out by 53 ten-thousandths of a second. Whew, my brain does not do math that far down. Anyways, so it'll finish up like this. Cole Henrik, number 1. Andy Comstock, number 2. Larry Skiro, number 3. Vic Fugate, number 4. And Kevin Hibden will end up in number 5 with Tim Ortiz in the 6th spot. And we're moving on to Pro Jet. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 012 is Stephen Welch out of Spring, Texas. Calls the boat Seeing Red. Sponsored by Olson Piling, Harry's Engine Machine, SWAT Speed and Marine, DSR, GS Marine, Dad's Wallet, MPD Performance, Amazing Landscaping, Jeff Bennett Analytics, Induction Solutions, Nitrous, and the crew is Jason and Kendra Armstrong, George, and Chris. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 356 is Robert Ledbetter. Calls that boat the Honey Badger out of Owasso, Oklahoma. Sponsored by Dave at D&E Motorsports, Amber, Scott, Kevin, and Godspeed Gary. Remember, these guys only running a half track, so the yellow buoys out there is as far as they're going to go. Well, they're going to go the rest of the way, but that's all that's going to count. So Stephen Welch runs a 4:03 and 7, 130 mile an hour pass to the 660. And Robert Ledbetter, don't know what happened. The boat shut off. Luckily, it stayed straight and didn't dive off to one side or the other, which is pretty common with jet boats. Pro Outlaw, we're ready for your boats at the in-ramp, please. Pro Mod, this is your final call. Pro Outlaw, bring them to the in-ramp, please. Jeremy Dawson Dickerson, runs a 377 and 5. 128 mile an hour pass. So Pro Jet will finish like this. Dawson Dickerson will be number 1. Robert Ledbetter number 2. Stephen Welch will be your number 3 qualifier. All right, here we go. First pair in round 3 for Pro Modified. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 716. That is Sean Reed out of Pally-Up, Washington. Calls the boat Top Secret. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 255 is Cade Genesek. Calls the boat All or Nothing. Sponsored by Genesek Performance and Equipment, TSI Transportation Service, Trinity Racing Ministries, and David Kirkland Racing. Well, Sean Reed going to jump back into that number 1 qualifying spot when it mattered most. He'll move up 2 spots. He ran a 5:62 and 7 for a 164-mile-an-hour pass. Cade Janicek ran a 5:705. Next pair in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is Jason Brandt out of Ingram, Texas. Sponsored by Chase Brunton Real Estate, Stroman Title, Guild Mortgage, Felix Gomez Jr. They call that boat Hydro Hysteria, and they're currently sitting in the number 7 qualifying spot. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 420 is Terry Kane. Calls that one Racing Cane. Out of Los Alamos, New Mexico. Thanks to Los Alamos Napa Auto Parts. All kinds of painting. Thanks to Jeff Bear Clay, and all the Canadian support this weekend. Terry Kane, currently your number 8 qualifier. All right, starter called for the lights. Here we go. Pro Mod action here in San Angelo, Texas. 5.6 seconds is the index. Mallory Carroll will move down 1 spot to number 6, but I think that's because Jay Hudgens actually moved up 4 into number 2. He ran a 5:62 and 7 on a 5.6 index for a 160-mile-an-hour pass. Mallory Carroll on the other side ran a 5:78 and 1. Here's a pair for you right here in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 927 is Robin Reed. Wound 2 tight out of Arlington, Texas. Comes in as your number 4 qualifier. Local sponsor is Concho Painting LLC since 1987, based in San Angelo. Two Guys Marine in Del Rio, Texas. Vertex Roofers and General Contracting. Texas Outrigger Boats, CCR Fiberglass and Marine. NGK Spark Plugs, Fun and Sun Boats and Tackle, and Trinity Racing Ministries. Thanks to the crew chief, Wesley Ice, the family, Crystal, Emily, Claire, Bob, and Debbie. The Tuttle family for all they do for us. Cody Childress for the motor program. And the crew, Bink and Bart Giles. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 459 is Henry Bainey. He calls that boat Don't Blink out of Burton, Texas. 2022 Pro Mod High Points champion, looking to see if he can repeat it again. But they have not been off to a great start. Said they're chasing a gremlin trying to figure this thing out, but hopefully they've got that squared away. We're about to find out. Big shout out to Mama Alice as always. Thank you to Ranch King Trailers, Rick Heidel, Gomez Landscaping, 5S Signs, Schaefer Racing Oil. And thank you to the Naughty Crew, Tim, John, and Bobby for all their help. Pro Outlaw, this is your final call. Pro Outlaw, it's your final call for round 3. Pro Outlaw, this is your final call for round 3. Top Alcohol Hydro, we need your boats to the in-ramp, please. Top Alcohol Hydro. All right, starter called for the lights. Robin Reed wound too tight in the left lane. Henry Maney, don't blink in the right lane. Well, they might have found that gremlin. Henry Bainey runs a 5.72 and 5, 154-mile-an-hour pass, and moves up 3 spots into the number 6 qualifying spot. Puts him right in the middle of the field. Robin Reed with an 0.44 reaction time runs a too fast 5.57 on that 5.6 index. He'll stay number 4. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane is boat number 115S. That's going to be Greg Lampar. Calls the boat Anger Management out of Comfort, Texas. Sponsored by Jeff Rose, the Cocky Rooster Bar, Penny Walkenhorst, and thanks to Jamie and Jerry. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 420S is Brody Martin, the Reaper. Sponsored by Phil's Automotive, Brutal Off-Road, Justin Teach Construction, and Mitchco Foundation. Well, Brody Martin, the boat shut down and left him floating. Tough luck for that kiddo. They've been working hard on this program for the last couple of weeks. Hopefully they'll get that squared away. Greg Lampar, check this out, with a 0.09 reaction time and a 5.64 and 5 on a 5.6 index, 163-mile-an-hour pass. And he'll finish the day as your number 3 qualifier. All right, here we go. Got our first pair of Pro Outlaws in the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane. Boat number 103 is Justin Schmidt. He's driving for Robert Lees in a machine they call Wildfire. Sponsored by Kager Soil Service, Red Fox Bar and Grill, Sales Midwest, Elite Tow, and Lake Relo. In the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 077 is Cody Childress. Calls that boat Bad Influence out of Nemo, Texas. Currently your number 2 qualifier. Sponsored by Travis Tuttle, BAE, Lenco Transmission, TD's Transmission, Galen and Betty Childress. Ken Jenkins, special thanks to his wife and kids, Bentley, Braxton, Brady, and Blakely. Thanks to Mama Judy. Special thanks to wife Kendra. All right. Clock is running. Well, Cody Childress turned it red by 94 thousandths, but then, by 600ths of a second off the number and jumps himself into the number 1 qualifying spot. Ran a 5.26 at 172 mile an hour. Justin Schmidt, not sure what happened there. The boat never did really look happy, and he ran a 5.601. Which, if he was in Pro Mod, would have been an absolutely great run. But unfortunately, in this one, it won't help him any, and he'll stay toward the bottom of the pack and end up number 5 qualifier. Next up in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 521 is Rick Blethroad out of Odessa, Texas. Calls the boat Wild Thing. He was number 1 qualifier until the last run, and now he's number 2. Sponsored by Alliance Machine, AAA RV, Pam and Ken's Cool Cars, and special thanks to Ronnie Jr. and Holly for their help. Don't forget, Superior Audio Sounds started a second raffle for another Wet Sounds Bluetooth cooler. Includes a lithium battery. It's a really nice cooler with a Bluetooth speaker built in. Comes with a lithium battery and a charger. $20 a ticket. That boat just sits down and check it out. He said, "Oh no, Cody, you are not taking away my number 1 qualifying spot." So he runs a 5.260, and by 1/10,000th of a second, check this out. Cody Childress just ran a 5.2608. Rick Blethroad runs a 5.2607 and takes it back from him. And Rick Blethroad will be back in the number 1 qualifying spot. All right. We did it before. We're going to do it again. Got ourselves a pair of Top Alcohol Hydro. In the Hawkins Battery and Golf Cars left lane, boat number 410 is Tyler Spear driving the Georgia Outlaw, racing out of Woodstock, Georgia. It's an Ellison naturally aspirated nitro Hemi. Sponsored by Timbercraft Oil, Pitchford Oil, Dawn Wild Racecraft, Pro Boat, VP Race Fuels, Red Horse Fittings, Excess Batteries, NGK Spark Plugs, RB Props, Jet Tools, and Hedman Hustler Headers. And in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane, boat number 881, Marty Logan, Living the Dream, the name of the boat, out of Midlothian, Texas. Starter did call for the lights. Tyler Spear and the Georgia Outlaw in the Hawkins Battery Golf Cars left lane. Marty Logan, Living the Dream in the Superior Audio Sounds right lane. And there's 10 seconds to go on the countdown. Couple of 200-mile-an-hour boats. Burning some alcohol. Here we go. Well, the Georgia Outlaw did not sound very happy. Ran a 671 and 6 at 132 mile an hour, but Living the Dream looked absolutely happy and amazing, much better than the last pass, 198.9 miles.
Race fans, thank you for watching our live stream coverage of this event. Before we conclude, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and tell everyone you know about Racer H2O. This concludes our coverage for today. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you 24/7 at racerh2o.com.